I wanted to talk about freedom. This has come up a lot recently, and a lot of people have been asking me a lot about freedom. And there's like different levels, different layers of freedom we can go to. So, for example, you could talk about the physical manifestation of freedom, but the physical manifestation of freedom actually comes after the internal stuff. So let's start with the internal stuff. Internally, freedom is freedom from yourself, because everything is internal. So we have free will, and free will doesn't necessarily mean I can physically do whatever I want. Free will is I'm able to make choices. No one can take your ability to make choices away. Someone can influence you to choose something, but no one can actually take your ability to choose away. Someone could hold a gun against your head and threaten you with death if you don't do a specific thing. But even in that moment, you can choose not to comply, and that wouldn't work out the best for you. I gotta be careful with my words because, oh my God, last time I talked about specific things, I got cut off. So freedom itself, by understanding that I have free will to make any choice and to also become aware of the thoughts that I have, the parts of myself that are having the certain thoughts that I'm completely unconscious of, I then have a better view to be able to get to freedom. Now, freedom from what? And essentially, it's not like this broad one answer thing. I might have resolved and become aware of parts of myself that have certain amount of freedom, or that I am free from certain thoughts, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other thoughts and other behaviors that are playing a role there as well. But the biggest one that I've found to be the case is, we're trying to achieve something. And if you're an entrepreneur like myself, you're trying to grow something, achieve something. You're trying to be someone, be something. And on this path, you're going to realize that what you're actually trying to be is just yourself. But you don't really know that. Hang on. Someone's saying there's an echo. Is there an echo? Hold up. Has the echo gone? Someone can just write in the comments if the echo's gone. No echo. Fantastic. Hello, guys. I'm going to get to all the comments in a minute. So freedom, going back to that, what am I trying to get free from? It's my own internal world. We always try to be someone, be something. So it's kind of like, okay, I need to achieve greatness. I'm striving to achieve greatness. Why am I striving to achieve greatness? So I can justify calling myself or giving the meaning to myself that I am great. And if I am trying to achieve something, then it means that I am not that thing right now. If I want something, it's because I don't have it. For example, if I want, right now, I don't want a black shirt or a black t-shirt, depending on which part of the world you're in, because I have it. And we only want things that we don't have or that we're not. We want to be what we are not. And if I want to be great, it's because I don't feel like I'm great now for who I am. And I'm putting these conditions on, well, no, of course not. I've not achieved anything. It makes sense that I have to first achieve X, Y, and Z before I allow myself to believe that I'm great. But realistically, you can just choose to be great for who you are and still achieve things and still live life. And one of the best ways to actually remain present is to get to that stage. Because the reason most people struggle to remain present is because you're waiting to achieve X, Y, and Z before you can say, I did this, I'm good, I'm great, I'm good enough. But if you're already at I'm good, I'm great, I'm good enough, you're not looking in the future so much to whenever you achieve this thing. So you're taking yourself out of the perceived future into the now moment because you're just living life. It doesn't mean that you're not going to create and want to do things. It just means that the reason or the fuel of what's driving you to do these things are going to be very, very different. It's not going to be because I have to justify my worth, my value. So if I am looking for freedom from within, how does that look? If I am continuously trying to achieve to then justify being great, being this person that is good enough, who am I trying to justify that to? Well, realistically, unconsciously, we're trying to justify that to everyone, the people outside of us, all the external people. But then on the second layer, what that does is it creates parts of ourselves that we're trying to convince. We're trying to achieve to convince these parts of ourselves that I am good enough, I am okay. And you're stuck in this prison of continuously one part of you or many parts of you trying to convince other parts of you that you are good enough, that you are this type of person. This is why we also get really defensive whenever we're in some form of argument where someone might say something about us that paints us in a completely different brush and picture of who we actually are. By simply being misunderstood, you're being misrepresented. And by being misrepresented, you're just trying to continuously convince people that, no, that's not me. That's not who I am. This is who I am. And that need that for them to understand is the prison. Because you think I am the type of person who doesn't care or is disrespectful, is a bad person, I now have to show you or try and convince you that I'm not this person. That's the prison. The prison is trying to convince everyone that you are not who they perceive you to be. Now, when you get to the stage where that is not a concern of yours, that's freedom. That's when you're free. You get to the stage where you actually feel, not just think, not just logically know, but feel it doesn't matter what you think of me. I know who I am. And that's the only path to get there, is to truly know who you are. It's not to try and convince yourself. It's not try to do some weird, crazy mind trick skills and hacks and stuff, mindset hacks. It's not that. It's to truly know who you are. And when you truly know who you are, it doesn't matter what anyone says. Because I know who I am. It doesn't matter if someone says I'm a scam artist or what I say is nonsense and it's pseudoscience and it's all make-believe and it's woo-woo. It's like, the reason I don't need you to believe me and the reason I don't need you to validate me is because I know who I am. It's not, I want to be this person that I'm striving to be. It's, I know who I am. It's a completely different energy, a completely different thing altogether. So by simply just understanding who you are and going down that path, you will get to a place where you recognize the prison that you are in internally, which is essentially the broad top level way of explaining it is continuously being on your own back in order to become something or someone so that other people will accept you. The freedom is about your internal state. Freedom is peace. Peace is not relaxing. It's not. Peace is not about sitting on the beach, looking at the sunset. You can be on the beach and be in hell. You can be in a football game and feel peace. And it's the peace, it's the freedom that gives us that feeling of peace. Because when I stop continuously trying to be something for everyone, I start being who I am. And I'm not beating myself up constantly. I'm not always on my own back, berating myself, scolding myself. And this is why self-love is a huge part of it. I start acting in a way that's more compassionate to myself and more understanding to myself. I build my confidence this way. That's my peace. Okay, I'm going to go through the comments. So if you do have any questions, definitely ask, and I will answer as many as I can. Is the feedback in the mic? Hang on. Just let me know if there's an echo as well. Some people have said yes, some people no. Hello from Australia. Yeah, that sounds better. Okay, cool. I think I'm just getting to the comments. Awesome. That sounds better. I just went to the biohacking conference in Austin, Texas. I spoke in the conference. It was really, really cool, actually. And I spoke about how trauma healing is essentially the ultimate biohack. If you've never been to the biohacking conference, I would highly recommend going. It is honestly phenomenal. But the reason why it's the ultimate biohack is you got to realize it like this, right? Your thoughts activate the stress response in your body. Okay. And thoughts are everything. So like this movement now that I do, the words that I'm speaking, me picking my dry skin from my hand right now, these are all done by thoughts. Okay. So every single movement that I make and that you make is done by thoughts. Hello from South Australia. Hello. We got 2 people from Australia. Amazing. I don't know what time it is there right now. It must be quite late or early. Everything is a thought. So all the movements that you do is a thought. And if you think that same thought again, you're firing and wiring the same pathway, the neural pathway, over and over again. So a thought is a neural pathway. It's 10:38 p.m. Wow. Hi from California. Hello. Sydney, Australia. Damn, this is this time of day really it's the other side of the world, really. I'm in the UK. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back. Okay, so your thoughts, every thought you have is a neural pathway. Every movement you make, everything is done by thought. So me doing this is a thought. If you've ever driven a car, you'll understand what I'm saying. The moment you get in driving a car, you're moving. So you're consciously putting your hands at 10 or 2. You're consciously putting your foot on the gas pedal. You're consciously checking the mirrors. You're consciously checking the gears. All these movements are thoughts, and you do it over and over again. You get in your car and you're driving over and over again. So you're doing the same movements over and over again. And you're firing the same neural pathways over and over again. Eventually, those neural pathways become so strong and so big that you don't need to give conscious awareness or effort to them for them to fire off. They just fire off on their own. This is when it moves to your subconscious. This is how you create a habit. And by this point, you just get in the car and your body takes over. So you start driving the car and you don't even consciously need to think about it. Your body takes over and you can actually have a conversation with someone. You're not consciously thinking about your foot position, about how to turn the car on, about how to change the gear or anything. You're having a full-blown conversation, and the habitual thoughts, the habit of driving a car, is firing and wiring on their own. Now, if you have many experiences in your life where you give meaning to that experience, so throughout our childhood, we will have experiences where we give meaning about the experience itself, the world, and about ourselves. So we will get scolded. We'll get told to shut up and get on with it. Being angry is something that gets me told off. And every time I do, I'm shouted at. When I'm jealous, I'm told to just get on with it and stop acting the way that I am. And every single experience that I have, I make mean something about myself. The reason I'm getting scolded means that I'm not good enough. Otherwise I wouldn't get scolded. I wouldn't be treated like this. The reason I'm just told to shut up and get on with it when I'm feeling jealousy because another kid's playing with my toy means that I mustn't be good enough to even have that attention or that consideration to how I feel and what I'm going through. I'm just ignore it. Okay, that means I'm not good enough. That's the same meaning. The reason I'm getting scolded and shouted at because I'm angry and I'm being told that I'm not allowed to behave like that is because the angry parts of me are not good enough. So I'm not good enough. Same meaning. All of those meanings are thoughts. And because I have so many experiences in my life where I give the same meaning over and over again, those neural pathways, the same neural pathways, are being fired over and over again. And eventually, they become so strong and so powerful that they move into my subconscious. And again, just like driving the car, it becomes a habitual way of thinking, a habit, a habitual thought. And just like the car, it fires off on its own without my conscious effort, my conscious awareness even. That's what a belief is. The way you create beliefs, or better yet, a belief is a thought over and over again, so many times where it becomes a belief. Everything is thought. Every movement, every interaction I have or do is done with thought. So now I have a load of beliefs that I'm unconscious of because they're in my subconscious. This is why people in my position and myself teach self-awareness, is to become aware of yourself, become aware of these parts of yourself that are holding the beliefs. Now, your thoughts activate your stress response. You can have a thought that activates stress in your body. And the experiences we've had in our lives, we've given meanings to. These meanings are thoughts. These meanings are the thoughts that activate the stress response. And because these thoughts that activate the stress response are now beliefs, now we have beliefs that activate the stress response. Firing and wiring without our conscious awareness or effort in the background. So simply because of the experiences we've had in our lives, we are now in a place where we are in continuous states of stress by our own beliefs, which are thoughts that we've thought over and over again, continuously. And because it's just continued to happen, it's not like one day I didn't hold this belief and then the next day I do. It's continuously happened throughout our lives the amount of stress has become familiar to us. It feels normal. It feels like, oh, this is what reality feels like. This is what everyone else must feel like. Everyone must feel the way that I feel. So, unfortunately, because of that, we don't even know just the level of stress that we are under. And long-term stress causes disease. Most of the diseases that you see in the world are because of long-term stress. Long-term stress is that. Obviously, there are different extremes. Sometimes people, unconscious beliefs will push them into really stressful environments. But even the people that are not necessarily in really high stressful environments are still under a lot of stress. It's just unconscious to us. This is why later on in life, everyone starts getting ill. It's like, oh, what is it? Maybe it's age. It's not age. Age is not the reason why people get ill and people get disease. It's not. Age is not the reason why your back hurts. That's lifestyle. The reason why you've been sat down your entire life, even though humans haven't actually evolved to sit down the way we do. We created chairs. The way a human being actually sits, go to the jungle and check out the people that are so much more connected to the earth than the Western world is. They sit down by squatting. That's how we actually evolved to sit. But we sit down on chairs at desks. And then we don't exercise. We don't actually put the effort into have a type of lifestyle because we've hacked everything. We've hacked dopamine. We've hacked food. We've hacked safety. And it's made us live in a way where we get to an older age and we're like, oh, age is the reason why my back hurts. No, it's not. It's because you don't exercise, you don't strengthen your back, you sit really badly all your life and you're constantly just trying to be comfortable. That's why your back hurts. And when you do that for years and years and years, at a certain point, your back's going to hurt. And it's the same thing with the amount of stress. If you're putting yourself, or better yet, if you're remaining in a continuous state of unconscious stress after years and years and years, it's going to manifest into disease, some form of disease. That's why you can actually heal yourself. You can actually reverse these things. And it's all about identity. By the way, if anyone's got any questions, again, ask it in the comments and I will answer it. It's all about identity. If I identify as a specific label, then I'm stopping my progression. If I was to ask you, let me, better yet, I'm going to ask you a question and just take about 5 seconds to answer it, yeah? And I want you to answer it as many times as you can, okay? I'm going to give you the beginning part of the answer, though. So, you answer it like this. The question is, who are you? And I want you to answer it by going, I am, blah, I am. As many times as you can, okay? So I'll give you about 5 seconds or so to answer as many times as you can. Go. Okay. So I'm pretty sure one would say, I am my name. I am my age. I am my job title, whatever that is. I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm an accountant. I'm an assistant, whatever it is. I'm a mother. I'm a father. Now, anything you would have answered, every single thing is an identity. And that's not wrong. It's not bad. It's how we work. It's how the ego works. The ego is not the bad guy. The ego is beautiful and brilliant, and it's working the way it's meant to. This is how we work, and that is okay. So everything you have said in that is an identity. I would say I'm Arian, and I would say I'm 40 years old. Okay. Now, the only reason why I identify as being Arian is because when I was born, everyone in my life, everyone in my reality looked at me and they were like, Arian, Arian, Arian. I was looking around. I was like, oh, that's who I am. I am Arian. So I've taken that identity on. Now, if I say, and I go, okay, I'm 40 years old. And the only reason why I identify as 40 years old is because I was born on planet Earth. And the moment I was born on planet Earth, Earth has cycled the sun 40 times. Every time it cycles the sun, we go 1 year. Does it again, we go 2 years. So it's the measurement of how many times it cycles the sun. So I am Arian, I am 40 years old. Those are both my identity. And you might go like, that is stuck. Like that makes sense. Yeah, that's cool. Obviously, that's unchangeable, yeah? But if I was born and everyone around me in my life would look at me and they call me Steve instead of Arian, I would grow up and I would identify as Steve. And if I was born on Mars instead of the Earth, at the exact same moment that I was born, to this very moment now, I would be 21 years old because it takes Mars longer to go around the sun. Mars's years is longer. So by simply being born on Mars and everyone calling me Steve, I would identify as Steve and I'd be 21 years old, not Arian at 40 years old. So my identity would be completely different. But I'd still be me. And I mean past the identity, the conscious awareness, the conscious driver, the consciousness. You is your consciousness. You would be you. So identity is a huge one. And I really need you to understand this, because identity is the biggest player on keeping you stuck and also making you thrive. And it's whatever identity that you are choosing to be. This isn't me telling you to change your name or your age or anything. When I was at the beginning of my journey, before I really, essentially, just before my awakening, I had a therapist, and my therapist told me that I had CPTSD and an anxiety disorder. And those are labels. And I identified as those labels. And if you've been listening from the beginning of the stream, you'll know that we talked about thoughts and long-term stress and beliefs. Now, the experiences that I had in my life created the trauma responses that I had, which kept me in extreme long-term stress. And over a lifetime, that long-term stress will create disease. Now, by me identifying in that moment with the label of CPTSD, which is incurable, and an anxiety disorder, which is incurable. I mean, this is what I was told. I was told it was incurable. I then went, okay, I need to learn how to manage it. And when you try and learn how to manage it, what you're actually doing is you're adapting to it. You're adapting to that stress. You're keeping yourself in a continuous state of stress, unconscious to you, thinking that that's normal, simply because I am identifying with that label. And if I identify with those labels, then later on in life, I will manifest disease. But then I did my research. I was pushed, and obviously me being where I am now, there's a reason why I was pushed, and I did my research. And I learned that it's all just a trauma response. I learned what anxiety is. I learned what CPTSD is and that it is curable. And I did it. I cured myself of CPTSD and anxiety disorder. And just like those two labels, there are other labels out there that people are identifying with that are keeping them in long-term stress, like ADHD, ADD, bipolar disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. Once you understand what's actually going on within your being, in your internal world, you'll realize that there are just labels that we identify with. And most things, are just trauma responses. People are not innately unhealthy. I'm talking about your average human being. Our natural, innately state, it's a healthy one. I'm not talking about being born with deficiencies or complications or anything like that. I'm talking about the average human's innate natural state is a healthy one. So when you're doing this work, you're not progressing past what a human's health is. You're actually just working towards your natural healthy state. But because of the experiences we've had, we've not been in that natural healthy state because of the conditional passed down trauma through the genes as well. We're born kind of already with a lot of trauma and a lot of issues. So this work is about becoming your natural healthy self. And the way you do that is by realizing who you truly are and by going towards that. All right, I'm going to go to the comments. Where else are you streaming for? I'm actually, do you know what? Funnily enough, today I started streaming on Kick. I thought I'd give it a go. So that's my first stream, and I'm going to keep doing that. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. Fuck yeah. What's the best way to control negative thinking? By not trying to control it. See, when you're trying to control a negative thought, what you're doing is you're making it wrong. That making it wrong is an invalidation. That invalidation is the way that it got there is through the invalidation. You're making that part of you that's thinking what it is wrong. But realistically, all parts of you are for you, not against you. It's just the behaviors that they take on are not healthy behaviors. So then we see these behaviors and we're like, oh, this part is a piece of shit. But it's actually just a behavior. Let me give you an example. If you are shamed in your life growing up and you try and, let's say you dance or something, and then all the people around you start laughing at you and like, what are you doing? You look so stupid. That's ridiculous. A part of you, that's extremely traumatizing for us. Okay. Trauma is emotional distress without resolution. So that is emotionally distressful, and there is no resolution because no one's there that can actually help you resolve it. So then a part of you goes, okay, how am I going to keep myself safe so I don't put myself in an extremely unsafe environment like this one? Say, I know I will keep myself in check by speaking to myself the same way as everyone spoke to me, which is what's going to actually keep me out of putting myself in a scenario, in a position where I'm going to get shamed again. So then later on in life, you might have the urge to go dance again, and you're going to say to yourself, no, don't do that. You're going to say the same thing that other people did. You're an idiot. You're stupid. You look ridiculous. Why are you doing that? That keeps me from putting myself in an environment, in a position where I've already learned it's really, really unsafe. But then because we don't have that awareness, we'll look at that and go, why do I keep speaking to myself like this? Oh my God, it's such a negative thought. Oh my God, I wish I wasn't here. I just wanted to fuck off. Why are my thoughts the way they are? When you realize that every single part of you is for you, not against you, you just approach your negative thoughts in a completely different way. So then you'll have a certain thought and you'll go, okay, I want to go dance. And then this part of you goes, no, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you're stupid. What are you doing? Don't dance. That's ridiculous. And instead of going, oh God, I wish you shut up, you go, I wonder where this part of me learned how to talk about this. So then I'm going to explore and feel and understand this part of myself. That is the way you actually get to a place where you're not having these thoughts and speaking to yourself this way, is by validating them and going towards them and understanding them. I mean, has it worked so far, trying to reject them, trying to control them? No. Otherwise, you won't ask the question. You cannot control thoughts. You can detach. You can't control them. One of the most ridiculous things I hear all the time is when people go, how do I stop thinking? I'm like, you can't. What? No one can stop thinking. If you could actually see thought forms. I was on plant medicine once and I actually started seeing thought forms. They're everywhere. Every single place. They're just everywhere. Like ghosts everywhere. And you take them on. That's why you take on thoughts. You take on ideas. Take on thought forms. The reason why so many people are terrified of flying is actually not necessarily the flying. It's because all the thought forms in planes are mostly about fear of crashing and everything. So when you go there, it's heightened so much more. You can't control thoughts. You just can't. And you're going to live a life. If you're trying to control thoughts, it's a heavy life. You're going to be extremely stressed all the time, constantly, continuously on, continuously aware. It's not life. So instead of trying to control it, let it be. Understand. Go towards. Find out where this part of you adopted this behavior. And how you can actually understand, by understanding this part of yourself, you're going to be able to validate it. So I'm on Kick as well, and someone called BeachBum888 says hi. Hello. What a tag name. All right, let's keep going through the comments. The Jojarian calendar is wrong for a start. This is very, very true. I'm a flower. I want to rule the world. You go for it. I speak as Jenna, daughter of country, sharing my breath. Sounds good. If I did everything that I'm thinking, I will have ended in prison. Well, yeah, of course. But that's completely normal. Like, everyone has insane, crazy thoughts. That's the whole point. The whole point of being alive. You need to have crazy, insane thoughts. These are like extremes. See his eyes, cult leader. Wait, is that about me? I'm telling you right now, that is not the first time I've been called a cult leader. The only label you need to have is I am crazy psycho. Okay. It's Tommy Gaming. Tommy Jones. What up? I don't know if you're still here. I have terminal cancer. Is there anything I can do to save myself? Thank you. This is a very, very challenging situation for sure. It would be extremely irresponsible of me to say yes, no, or anything like that. Like, I am not an expert in cancer in the slightest. I don't know what stage you're at, what is going on in life, or anything like that. So I can't answer your question the way that you would want me to answer it. But what I can say to you is that I have heard and seen testimonials of many people that have come back from stage 4 as well. Now, I would highly recommend you looking into Joe Dispenza's work, actually. There's a lot of the people that followed him and gone to his workshop that talk about healing themselves from cancer. I would highly recommend that. But unfortunately, it's not something that I can answer, and honestly, it would be worse if I do. It wouldn't give you a true reflection of your situation and what you're going through. So you don't control the thoughts, you validate the reason you're thinking that way. Absolutely. That's, yeah, basically. But no, that's just the first step. Validating the reason you're thinking them is the first step of understanding why they're there. So the ultimate goal, like the goal that you're trying to essentially get to, is understanding why these thoughts are even there. Because you have so many thoughts within yourself. So many. And you have to understand the why. And it's not, and I don't mean just the top level why. The top level why, like the first why you answer, is like the branches of the weed. But you need to get to the root of the weed. If you just stay at the branches, you keep cutting the branches of a weed, what happens? It grows back. It comes back. So you have to be able to understand the deep-rooted why. For example, I am, let's say, for example, okay, let's say that you grew up in a household where your mother would yell at you every time you left an empty cup on the side. Say it's a cup of water, nothing. And you leave the empty cup and the water on the side, and your mother shouts at you, "Go put this cup in the kitchen. I don't want any empty cups on the side." And you're like, "Oh, okay. That's unsafe." So that unsafety is emotional distress. And remember, trauma is emotional distress without resolution. So you're being shamed to move the cup. You're being scolded. You're being told off. You're learning that I have to be on alert, more alert, because the simplicity of just leaving a cup on the side creates a reaction that's not like small. It doesn't start here, then where it just goes boom, straight there. So go put your cup on the side. It's like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. That's emotionally distressful without resolution, and that happens time and time again. So that's really unsafe for me. And it's because I'm human, or I might be busy, maybe watching something or playing a game or something, I'll do it again. And every time I do it, same reaction. Like, oh my God, this is terrifying. Until I get to a stage where I just don't do that anymore. Every time I finish the cup, I don't even feel comfortable putting it on the side. I hold it in my hand. When I've finished it, I just get up straight away and put it in the kitchen. Because I have learned that an empty cup on the side is terrifyingly scary and unsafe. Now, someone will, maybe I have a sibling, and my sibling will finish their drink and put the cup on the side. It's got nothing to do with me, but that makes me feel that trauma being triggered. So then I'm going to feel unsafe because someone else has put the cup on the side. So then I might say to my sibling, go put the cup in the kitchen. I don't want it. And my unsafety will actually get me to a place where I'll be angry, and I will force my sibling to do it through anger. All because I feel unsafe because of what I've been through. And this is a behavior now because of what I've been through. And that behavior is still there when I'm an adult. And as an adult, I pass this down to my children, because every time my children put the cup on the side, I feel that unsafety again. So then I project my wounds to the next generation. This is essentially how it works. This is how we're passing down a lot of generational trauma as well as through the genes. All of the things that I've been through that make me feel unsafe is being projected to the next generation. So even if other people around, I don't feel comfortable. My friends might be around, but I respect my friends enough that I'm not going to speak to them in that way. So maybe I don't speak to them. I just feel so uncomfortable that I get up and put the cup in the kitchen myself as soon as they finished. And they're like, God, you can never just sit down. You're always on the move. Just sit down and relax. Oh, I'm just tidying up. I'm just getting these things nice and tidy. Unconscious to the fact that it's actually my trauma being triggered. That's why I feel uncomfortable and I can't sit down. So in that instance, someone might go, hey, you're always like, what are you doing? Why do you keep doing this? And, but I have these thoughts that I need to move it to the cup and move it to, oh, that's a negative thought. Well, just don't think it. All right, yeah, I'm just not going to think it. It's not going to work because it's there. It's within you. You can't just not think it. It's actually a communication that's constantly trying to tell you that, hey, you have, because of these experiences that you've had, you have these parts of you that are having these thoughts that need your attention. This is the whole concept and the whole point of how we work. So then, as you said, you don't control your thoughts. You validate the reason you're thinking them. So the validation is in the beginning. I will first validate that I'm thinking this. Every time there's an empty cup there, I'm being concerned that there's an empty cup there. That's the validation that I'm allowing it to be there instead of trying to get rid of it. And then from there, I move on to the next step. Because if I just stay there and go, oh, it's there, it's there. Next time it's going to happen again. I'm going to go, oh, it's there, it's there. Next time it's going to happen again. I'm going to go, oh, yeah, it's there, it's there. And that's cutting the branches and the branch will go back. Cutting the branches and the branch will go back. So what we need to do is get to the root of the weed, which is understanding further. So then I go deeper into, I allow myself to feel whatever feeling comes up with those thoughts. The uncomfortable feeling is getting me to get up and move the cup and go put it in the kitchen. The uncomfortable feeling is pushing me to do that. If in that moment I was feeling bliss or felt peace or felt love, I wouldn't want to move the cup. I'm chilling. I'm feeling good. It's the feeling that gets us to do anything. Every single thing that a human being does is because of how it's going to make them feel. So by moving the cup into the kitchen, I now feel calm. Or better yet, I stop feeling the fear under the sensation of anxiety that I'm feeling. But in this instance, I'm going, right, I'm going to go to the root, which means that I need to sit with that feeling. And if this was the scenario and I'm like, okay, I want to trigger myself to do that, I'm going to drink a cup of water and put it on the side and just let it be there. And then when I'm feeling whatever's coming up, I'm going to sit with it. Just have those thoughts without trying to change them and sit with the emotion without trying to change it. And by feeling the emotion and taking it on, I start connecting to this part of myself. This is me taking this part of myself on. By taking this part of myself on, then I learn everything that I need to learn. Where this came from, where this behavior came from, why this part of me is saying and doing or thinking the thoughts that it is. And then I can, through that, understand what unmet needs exists within that. And then I can start meeting those unmet needs in a state of imagination if I need to, or a behavioral change in the 3D reality. I start meeting my own unmet needs. Not to say that you are all you need. That's ridiculous. You're not. But you can start meeting a lot more of your unmet needs yourself. And through the simplicity of feeling it, to release it, understanding, and meeting your unmet needs, the exact same scenario will not make you feel the same way. It will not trigger all of that, all of those emotions that come with those thoughts that are hiding under the sensation of anxiety. You'll have an empty cup on the side and it will be fine. You will be able to sit down with your friends instead of continuously getting up and tidying up, and you can start enjoying it. The more you do that, what you're essentially doing is you're integrating. That's integration work. The more you do that integration work, the more you're finding your peace. The more you're getting to a place where you're truly finding peace. Because remember, it's the feeling that drove me to do that. It's the feeling that drove me. Are you all right? You're okay? My dog just woke up and looked at me. It's the feeling that is driving you to move that cup in the kitchen. So by resolving those feelings, you're not going to be living in a continuous state of stress where your anxiety is being triggered, or better yet, your emotion is being triggered under the sensation of anxiety. So yeah, the awareness or the validation is the beginning part. But just the awareness that you need to validate is something that can be challenging for some. All right, let's go to the next one. How do I differentiate or balance between being who I am, just being, versus growing and becoming a higher? I'm honestly not sure what you mean. Maybe you can elaborate in a question again. How do I differentiate or balance between being who I am, just being, versus growing and becoming a higher? Yeah, if you could just elaborate. I don't fully understand that. I'm going to move on to the next one. How can I learn my true self without considering my identity? Your identity can change. Your true self can't change. Your true self, you got to realize, like, when you say I am, you're still living in the 3D. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not this or that. It's this and that. Okay? I really don't like it when people are like, oh, I am the spiritual being. I'm not the human. No, you are. Okay? You are all of them. That's the whole point. It's not this and that. It's not this or that. It's this and that. So when I say you are your true self as well as your identity, just know that you can change your identity. But when you see yourself only as your identity, that's where you're not seeing the bigger picture. So it's not like don't be the identity and be your true self. It's like, no, you're both. But just know that you can change your identity. The 3D is not reality. Everyone thinks, again, it's not this or that, it's this and that, okay? So when I'm talking like this, I'm not saying just hyper focus on this one thing and that's all that exists and that's where you need to live. No. But the 3D is not reality. When we say reality, we think, oh, the 3D reality, the 4D reality. No, those are dimensions. The reality is consistent of 3, 4, and 5D. This is why everyone in the spiritual community is like, oh, we're all going to 5D. We're living. But it's not like we're going anywhere. If there was a bucket, right? And in that bucket was reality. The reality was the bucket. there would be 3 sections in that bucket. One would be 3D, one would be 4D, and one would be 5D. What most people do is they stay in the section of 3D and go, oh, this section is reality. It's not. So what you do is you need to step out of that section and see the whole bucket. Reality is 3D, 4D, and 5D. 3D is what you see, what is rendered, what is manifested. It's where the identity is as well. Part of the identity. Like where the identity is manifesting. You got 4D, which is your inner world. It's your thoughts, it's your programming. Imagination is how you connect to it. This part, your imagination is your connection to your inner world. 5D is who you truly are, which is the extension of God, which is a fragment of the universe. Think of it as playing a game. Okay, whenever, let's say Grand Theft Auto, I don't know if anyone's, I'm pretty sure some of you have seen my Life on Earth video. Think of playing Grand Theft Auto. You've got the screen, which is showing you the game. That's 3D. You've got the controller, which is controlling the avatar. That's 4D. And you've got the player using the controller, the person holding the controller. That's 5D. It's who you are using the controller to play the game. That's reality, all of that. But what most people are doing, they're like just in the game going, this is reality. It's not. Part of the 4 and 3D is your identity as well. But when you get past that and you align with your true self, which is your higher self, the most you that you are, your true essence of who you are, which is 5D, there is no identity. That's why you hear all the time people like myself say I am, because it doesn't make sense to say anything past that, because anything past that is an identity. But when you connect all the way to the 5D, it's just I am, because I am everything. It doesn't make sense to me to say I am Arian. I am even this mouse. I am everything. That's why you cannot say anything past I am. And the way you get to your true self is by understanding that you have an identity, and that's okay. Don't make that wrong. Don't try and get past the identity. It's about realizing that you are more than the identity. It's not like it's this or that. It's this and that. I'm the identity, but I am also more. A lot of people see the ego as the bad guy, and that is one of the worst things you can do. The ego is the identity part, and that's normal. The ego is here to keep you safe. The ego's job is to keep you safe as quick as possible. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's done in the healthiest way, but that's what the ego does. So when you realize that the ego's bad, or better yet, unhealthy behaviors are actually just trying to keep you safe, you don't make it wrong anymore. And by not making it wrong and going towards understanding, you're not trying to push the identity away. You're realizing that you are more than just the identity. And then you can actually also realize that your identity is essentially based on the old story that you've been telling yourself. And because you can change the stories that you've been telling yourself through the integration work, as well as changing it, you're telling yourself a new story, which is a new identity, which means that your identity can always change. That's the whole point. It's meant to be here so it can always change. It's part of reality. It's part of the way that you work. So, but a lot of people are like, I'm trying to identify as my higher self. It's like, that's not how it works. If you need to, it's a knowing that you are everything. Past the identity, it doesn't make sense to say I am my higher self. Because you are everything. I am. That's it. All right, let's move on. Again, any questions you have, guys, just ask in the comments. Oh. Okay. How do I... Oh, no. All right, that was the other one. How do I approach a guy to pursue something with, but they are not responding and think negatively me? That's pretty broad. I feel like I need a little bit more. How do I approach a guy and pursue something? Like, is it a business deal? Is it a proposition? Is it you want to ask them out on a date? Like, it really, really depends. So if you could just maybe ask a little bit more in detail of that one. A date. Okay, cool. How do I approach a guy to pursue something with, or a date? They are not responding, and I think and think negatively me. Do you mean they think negatively of you, or you're thinking negatively of yourself? Essentially, your question is, how do I get the date? I'm presuming. Yes, they of me. So, look, if this is the thing, if someone is thinking negatively of you, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the episode or the stream. If someone is thinking negatively of you, you need to realize that you're in a battle to try and change how they think of you. That needs to have awareness to it. You need to understand that you are actually trying to make them think differently of you. And I know that that sounds like, well, yeah, duh. Of course I am. But we can't control anyone's free will. And we can only present ourselves as who we are. And if I'm presenting myself as who I am and someone is thinking negatively of me, any attempts to, if I'm continuously trying to attempt to change the view of that person in order to get a date from them, that's a self-abandonment. My question to you is, why would you want to be on a date with someone that you have to put so much effort into just to get the bare minimum basic stuff that you would expect from a potential romantic partner? Like, why do you believe that you're not good enough for someone to actually pursue you, for someone to actually want you so much so where you don't need to pursue them in the sense that you are, and they're you trying to change how they view you? If this is someone you're not dating already, really ask yourself, why are you, what will it be like, the relationship, if at this stage you have to put so much effort, so much, just to make them think or be the bare minimum of what one would expect in a relationship? My advice is always about the self, always about you, because that's the most important thing. All right, I spent 9 years when my awakening, 9 years, that's not true. My awakening was from my previous relationships ending. And I spent 9 months when that relationship ended trying to get back with her. 9 months. And it was a continuous self-abandonment all the time. And I tried everything that I could. There was nothing that I didn't try. Literally nothing that I didn't try. And then one day it was like, enough's enough. But now looking back at it, I understand why I did that. It's because I didn't see myself as having value. I didn't see myself as being good enough. And I look back at it and I'm like, okay, well, let's say if she would have said, yeah, let's give it another go, which she didn't for 9 months. But let's say if she did, my life would have been terrible because I would have continuously been trying to just get the bare minimum. Like putting so much effort, way too much effort and energy into the relationship just to get the bare minimum. That's a question that a lot of people need to ask. Why do I believe that I have to put all this energy just to get the bare minimum? Why can't I believe, or why don't I believe that I deserve the bare minimum as just a default? So really, really look within. And in terms of this reality being a mirror, when you get to that stage where you do find your worth of I am worth at least the bare minimum, then it will start mirroring in your reality. And you'll start meeting people that can absolutely give you the bare minimum as default without you needing to put any extra energy and effort into it. Okay, let's keep going. Generational non-regulation of emotions. For sure. Good morning, Self-Compassion 77. You're very welcome, Ava. IDK Plus is on as well. So you got Tommy Gaming and IDK Plus. This is a good stream. What's up? Okay, yes, those are the answers. Is there free will? This is a great question. So yes, there is. Free will extends the 3D. So earlier we talked about how you are not just in the 3D, you are 3, 4, 5D. If anyone has followed Dolores Cannon's work, you'll know that she talks a lot about coming into reality. And as you're coming into reality, there's what we call soul contracts. There's your choice of what you want to experience. And the reason I use the concept of a game is because it pretty much is. This is a game we're in. Like, that's the easiest way to understand it. Oh, I've got something really cool to share actually after this. So essentially, you as a soul, you here is the extension of your soul, just like your nail is the extension of your human being. Your experience in this lifetime is the extension of your soul. Your soul can have many, many experiences all at once. You chose what you did before you came into this game. So the path that you're on, the parents that you have, these are choices. So, but your what most people call your purpose or your path is also a choice. For example, I chose to come here and be the type of teacher that I am now, talk about reality, talk about, be very spiritual, even though everything is spiritual. I am finally on my path, but I wasn't for the first 35 years of my life, but I am now. So I'm aligned with my purpose, and that was my goal. Now, I chose to go through what I did because it taught me what I needed to learn in order to be able to teach what I teach. The reason I'm a very good teacher isn't because I read everything from books and learned everything on online courses. It's because I experienced it. The reason I'm able to give the advice and information that I have because of my experience. You know, no one can learn how to ride a bike from a book. You have to actually get on the bike and learn it like that. So no one can teach you how to ride a bike if they've not gone on the bike and ridden it themselves. So for me, for my path, I chose to go through what I did so that I can be who I am, or who I'm becoming and being now. So my free will, but here's the thing, in this plane, in this 3D reality, if I chose to do something that is not aligned with my path or purpose, my reality would look different. The same opportunities wouldn't come up. I wouldn't feel the same. I would feel very, very different. My reality and my life would look very, very different. So for example, if I forced myself to be an accountant, now I'm not speaking badly about an accounting job. I have an accountant, very, very important. But me personally, I genuinely, that would be one of the worst things that I could think of doing. I hate that kind of work. I hate it. Doesn't mean it's not important or valuable and other people don't like it. I just hate it myself. But if I was forcing myself to be an accountant, I wouldn't feel the same. I'd be miserable. I'd be continuously in a huge state of stress and distress. And I'd manifest disease. I'd manifest people not. I'd manifest so many different things. Like I wouldn't be able to have the type of conversations that light me up, that fuel me, that make me feel excited. I'd be attracting the type of people to my reality that would mirror my miserable state. So my free will extends my reality, the 3D reality. By getting aligned with my path, my reality is blooming in the way that I'm actually enjoying it because it's aligned with the free will and the choice that I made before coming into the 3D. I always speak about it like it's a rat maze or a mouse maze. You know, there's only one way out, but you have the ability to turn down any door or path. You might turn left and then you'll see that it's a dead end. Oh, that's the accounting job. You know, but then I learned that, no, I need to go back. So then you go, and eventually you're on the path. But you chose that path before you came here. So yes, you have free will. It's just people find it really hard to decide whether they do because they're staying in the realms of 3D. And it's like, well, we don't have free will. It's like, no, you do. It's just reality extends 3D. And you've already made the choice. Beautiful scene in the Matrix Revolution when Neo sat down outside just before he fights all of the Agent Smiths. Sat down with the Oracle. And she says, candy, offers him candy. And he goes, do you know if I'm going to take it? And she goes, well, I wouldn't be much of an Oracle if I didn't. He goes, well, if you already know, how can I make the choice? And she says, because you've already made the choice. You didn't come to, no, sorry, let me get the words exactly right. She said, you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. You're here to try and understand why you made it. And that is a beautiful way of explaining this. You didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. So it was your free will outside of this reality that extends the 3D where you've already made the choice. So is it free will? Yes. And if you just remain in 3D, yeah, it's understandable that you would think free will is not true, it's not real. It's like, yeah, well, you're not seeing the bigger picture. if we are everything and everywhere, is it ego that makes us feel separate individual? Not the ego necessarily. I mean, look, yes and no. Okay. What would make more sense is the reason you feel separation is because you're aligning with the parts of yourself that are disconnected from you. That's it. It's the simplest way that I can say it. And you become your multiple parts, multiple personalities, and you become multiple parts all day, every day, throughout the day. Like, this is how we work as human beings. So today already, you've become so many parts of yourself. And the reason why all of the parts identify as the same name is because they've all been called the same name all the way through your life. So for you taking on these parts, it just feels like you're being this one human being and this one thing. But that's not the case. You are many, many different parts. Your ego, even though it is its own thing, is also an amalgamation of all of the parts of yourself that have also learned, or better yet, that through the experiences of your life that you experienced emotional distress without resolution, you fragment, and these parts of yourself learn behaviors of how to keep you safe. We talked about this earlier. These parts of yourself feel disconnection. They are disconnected from you. This is why we don't feel whole. And why everyone's like, you're whole already. It's like, great. That's not invalidating to how I feel at all. Thanks for that. But it's true. There is an element of truth and validity to that. Because once you understand that, oh, these are all within me, they just feel disconnected. But that doesn't mean they're not within me. This is why the integration work is key. Integration. It's connection. It's merging, reestablishment of that connection, integrating. That's why we do the integration work. So the more you do the integration work, which is essentially what for anyone usually reaches out and asks, that's what my program, Inner Awareness Framework, my course teaches you that to the highest, like most deepest degree. When you start integrating, you start feeling more whole. And what you realize is the more you do that, you're also removing the filters of trauma. When you're removing the filters of trauma, you're more connected to yourself. And by being more connected to yourself, and you are the universe, you're more connected to the universe. So you start actually experiencing, feeling that connection to the universe more, which means that you start getting downloads easier. You start just connecting so much easier because you're integrating to the universe, which is you. And when you're integrating to you and you are the universe, you realize that you are everything and everywhere. And you start feeling that. As before, when I said, when I reached the place where I actually went as far as I could into the 5D element of me, it didn't make sense to say anything past I am, because I am everything. This is why self-awareness trauma work is the key. That's why the programs that I put out there is all about this. It's like, yeah, you could kind of do a program about this and that and the other, but like, why wouldn't you just, the goal of everyone that's doing this kind of work, the goal essentially is to become the most you that you are. Everyone's reaching for the same end goal, but just going down different paths. So by understanding who I am more and more and more by connecting to my true self more and more and more and more, I'm becoming aware of what I am more and more and more and more, which is everything and everyone. And the only way that I can, and the reason why I can't feel that and know that to my truth right now is because I keep aligning with the parts of myself that are disconnected and feel disconnection. And the goal is not to invalidate and push them away. The goal is actually to do the exact opposite, is to integrate them. Because you will not be able to push them away. You just can't. They're going to keep coming back and keep coming up because your entire being system is built in a way to show you that over and over and over again. Right, I am going to go through a few more questions, and I think that is it. I've been doing this for an hour and 20 minutes. I keep wanting to do this for like 40 minutes, and we just keep going over, which is fine. Okay, so, but how do you find your purpose? This is an interesting one. So, a lot of people will say, you just got to follow your joy. And yeah, there is an element of truth to that. But sometimes you got to realize that you got to learn what joy is. A lot of people don't actually know what joy is. They'll be in joy, and obviously they'll enjoy things for sure. But there's so many elements of someone who's feeling safe and interpreting that as joy, or feeling productive and interpreting that as joy. If you're an entrepreneur, this is actually one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs slip up on. This is why a lot of people go, don't work hard, work smart. It's because it's very easy to do what you know and fill your day with doing things that you know how to do, and it makes you feel great. And you go, you get that hit of dopamine. You're like, I enjoy what I do. This is great. But realistically, you're not actually on the right path. You're not doing the thing that you're meant to be doing. A lot of people say to me, like, how can I tell the difference between my intuition and the ego? When the ego is telling me what to do versus when my intuition is telling me what to do. First of all, your intuition can be ego-driven, let's say. Your intuition isn't always necessarily right. Your intuition is can be filtered through fear-based communications. But it's the only way that I can say this, and this is honest, like the only way that I can say is that you will be able to tell the difference and really tell what is what by doing the work. There's no other way. It's like a flavor. That's the best way that I can describe it. A lot of people kind of go like, okay, your intuition is the soft voice, and that there is a level of truth to that as well. But a lot of people say things like, I don't think it's the right time yet for me to do this. I don't think it's the right time to do this podcast. I don't feel like, it's not right. Now, if you want to be led onto your purpose, the fastest way to do it. Oh, hello. How are you? Okay. I'm on a live here, you know. Where did you come from? Okay. All right. Hi. I'm trying to talk to people. I know. Okay. So let me talk to people, okay? Can I talk? We're talking about purpose and intuition. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So your intuition, the fastest way to align with your purpose is to, Jesus, right? I can't do this. I'm sorry. I love you, but I can't do this right now. Okay? So I'm going to put you on the couch there, and then after this, I'll come and give you cuddles, okay? Okay. Love you too. All right. Okay. That was fun. Don't look at me like that. Jesus. 50% and 50%. 50% internal work, because the internal work is going to get you to your true, authentic self, is going to get you to understand the difference between your choices that you're making that make you feel safe versus your authentic truth. And 50% action. And in the middle of that, you have the communication of take this action, take this action, take this action. And if you really want to land to what is your purpose, go towards what scares you the most. Or better not the most, just scares you. This is why a lot of people don't, and they turn around. I don't feel like it's that time to do that podcast. So why is the idea of a podcast coming into your reality anyway? Well, it was an idea that one of my friends said. Yeah, that's your reality. Well, it was a thought that I have. Yeah, that's your reality. It's come into your reality for a reason. And what we do is we feel the fear of doing a podcast or feel the fear of doing this thing and go, no. That's kind of scary and very loud in my internal world. And oh no, but what is quiet and calm are the parts of me that are convincing me that it's not time to do that yet. That's what feels safer. Yeah. No, I shouldn't do that because I've got a lot on. Oh, because I got to do the washing. Oh, because it's going to be really hard. Oh, because I don't have anyone else to do it with. Oh, because I don't have the really expensive microphone yet. I don't have the really expensive camera yet. I don't have the ability to do this. That's where a lot of people mess up on. They go, oh no, my intuition is telling me it's not time. Where realistically, your intuition is pointing you to your path. Your path is never comfort. It just isn't. All right. Comfort is remaining the same. If you're happy with who you are and your life, great. But if you go, I want more, you're never going to do it in a comfortable way. It's going to always challenge you. It's going to always feel scary. You're always going to feel fear. You've got to learn how to move forward, even though the fear is there. This is, again, why integration work is huge. Because the integration work is the resolution of that fear, but that doesn't mean it goes away 100%. It just reduces it a lot. And then you've still got to move forward, even though the fear is there. And by doing that and achieving these things that you wouldn't even believe that you could achieve, you start backing it up with like new stories about yourself. You go, oh my God, I actually did that. That is so cool that I did that. You start really trusting yourself. You start having more confidence. You become a different version of yourself. But you're not going to do that if you're just, oh no, it's not time yet to do that podcast. No, it's not time. Like, the best way to align with your purpose is to listen to the fearful directions. And I don't mean go stand in front of a car or continue dating the toxic person or something like that. I mean the stuff that is your growth. I need to go do that podcast. Well, I don't know. I don't have the stuff. Like, just do it. Do it. Go check out my first YouTube video versus the YouTube video I've got now. You're going to see a huge difference. Check out my first podcast episode versus my latest podcast episode. It's going to be a huge difference. If I waited and waited and waited and waited till, everything was perfect until I started doing these things, I wouldn't be where I am. You wouldn't move forward. You got to realize that just get comfortable in the discomfort. That is the hack to life. You can be comfortable in the discomfort. You're going to achieve so much in your life. And then the other aspects of joy is that your emotions are your guidance system. Just literally like your higher self, or better yet, the universe is going, go left, go right, go this way, go that way. And based on the free will that you've already chosen, the path that you're wanting to be on, your guidance system will guide you to that path. This is why everyone says, follow your joy. What brings you joy is different to what brings me joy, because I have a completely different path to you. So use your emotional guidance system as that. And this is again why integration work is so profound and important, because the experiences you've had in your life have filtered and muddied out your guidance system. The functions aren't running properly. So to clean the code and, get to a place where you can truly understand it is the inner work, is the integration work. And it will get you to a place where you can actually start going, now I need to do this. Oh, now I need to do that. Oh, I got to go do this. Now I need to do that. Now I need to do a live. Now I need to, it's all guidance. So use your being for what it is, and you'll be able to progress forward and find your purpose. Okay, I'm going to do one more question. I can see everyone got excited when the dog came. I'm going to do one more question, and then that's it. I'm just going to quickly run through the questions to see what the best one to answer is. There's a good one here. You are God. No, hang on. Which one is it? Yeah. Very spiritual man. Do you believe in God, brother? Jules. So it really depends on what you mean by God. Okay. So many people in the world have different ideas of what God is. Do I believe in God the way religion presents it? No. Do I believe in a God? Yes. The concept and God being creator. There is a creator. I am creation. I am part of creation. Creation creates. God is me. I am the extension of the creation, the universe that we call it. Source is the amalgamation of all existing things on every single dimension in every single reality as a collective, as amalgamation, which is what we call source, which is what God is in my eyes. So yes, God does exist. And because we are all experiencing reality, we're creating reality, but at the same time we are co-creating reality. And this is again why I use the example of playing a game like GTA. You will play Grand Theft Auto and you can have multiple players in the same server, in the same level. You're co-creating, but you're also playing your own game as well. So how I speak to God is me speaking to my higher self. How you speak to God is you speaking to your higher self. My God is actually different to your God, but it's still at the higher level, it's still all one, the same. This is why, again, this whole concept that God is outside of me. This is why I hate worship. Fucking hate the concept of worship. Really, really do. Because worshiping means that I am making this thing outside of me much greater and bigger and more valuable and better than I am. And anyone who worships a God doesn't understand what they are themselves. You are the thing that you are worshipping. By worshipping this thing outside of me, first, I'm, again, going back to what we said earlier, the reason why I would worship anything outside of me is because I am disconnected. That's a disconnection. I'm feeling the disconnection from me and this thing. And the other thing is that I'm putting myself much lower, and that's not true. I am the extension of God creation. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it there. Thanks for joining, guys. Usually after these lives, I get loads of people reaching out, asking me about content and resources and everything. Just click the link in my bio and everything's there. I will see you next time. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.